Okay, let's get it. Black girl magic dripping. Yeah, she's on a mission. Keeping our culture lifted. Now you can watch and listen. And Tammi Mac. Oh, what show is that? It's the Tammi Mac show on Fox Soul.
Tammi Mac, Tammi Mac, yeah, who that? Tammi Mac, hey, so you know it's Tammi Mac, hey, Tammi Mac.
Oh, well. Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. In Hollywood, our stories have traditionally been told through the lens of white producers, white writers, sometimes even white actors, y'all. And yes, white directors. While we may view directors like the first Black film director, Oscar Micheaux, Shaft director Gordon Parks, and Sweetback's badass song director Melvin Van Peebles as Hollywood legends, white Hollywood seems to have ignored our pioneers and leave our legacies out of the picture. Yeah, classic Hollywood, indeed. Well, it's time for Hollywood to fully open its doors to Black directors. It's time to give Black directors the same opportunities to tell human stories in every way, not just the Black way. Tonight, the business of being Black on the Tammi Mac Late Show is uncovering the Black director's plight in Hollywood. Please welcome, I'm like totally y'all, I'm super fanning over every one of these guests tonight. I'm gonna just put that out there just like that, all right? So if y'all feel like I'm being a little biased here and there on my questioning, you might be right tonight. Please welcome executive producer and director Mario Van Peebles to the show. Hi, Mario.
I love that you have your own theme song. That's coolest, man. I gotta get one of those.
I'm gonna give you one so you can just walk around and play it.
Next pitch we have, I'm gonna play my theme song.
Exactly. Director Carl H. Seaton. Hey, Carl.
What's up, Tammy? How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. Writer and director Thembi Banks. Hey, Thembi.
Okay, I also am obsessed with the theme song. I would like my own as well. We need to work on that.
We gonna make that happen for you. We definitely will. And director and producer Tony Mccuin. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Tammy. How are you? Everything good?
Everything's fantastic.
You
now
know,
that I
real quick
have
with that theme song, just so you know, I'm trying to get Ronald Isley to do mine. I'm going to bring back something a little old school.
You
keep some candles lit behind you, and Ronald's about to knock this off for me.
You trying to hit us where it hurt. Making love between the sheets. Fight the power. Okay.
Come on now.
So listen, we start off every show with the question, why? Why should Black people care? And so I'm going to ask you, Tony, since you're in it right now, why should Black people care about Black directors and whether Black directors get opportunities to direct movies or projects at all?
You know, it's about telling our story our way. It is about, flat out, no one can tell our story like we can. And I think that's a really big deal. And even for myself, as a multi-camera director, unlike, my compadres here on this board, which do other single camera and tell other stories that way, I tell my story live. I say that to say that when I shoot Yolanda Adams, I know exactly what I'm looking for. And I know the story that she is trying to convey and what she's trying to tell. Because in my world, she's singing to my grandmama. And so my approach in shooting Tamala Mann, Yolanda Adams, Kirk Franklin is different than someone else's who doesn't understand that this means everything to their mom. This means everything to Big Mama. Yeah. This means everything. So when I go into something like that, when it comes to why Black directors matter, it matters because you need us to tell that story. You need us to touch your heart.
Not only that, you need us to know who Yolanda Adams and Tamala Mann, and you need us to know who they are in the first place.
We ain't gonna even go down there just yet, but I'll revisit that one because there is nothing worse than watching some retrospective act on an award show. Let's just for yucks call it The Time. And the director just stays on Morris Day. And I'm like, you do know Jesse Johnson's on guitar, right? You do know that's Jerome with the mirror. That's Jelly Bean on drums, right? No, you don't. you don't and you don't care. Where to us, it means everything. There are people fanboying, go, oh my gosh, I hope I can see Jesse Johnson. And dude's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So for us, it is that storytelling. I watched the Parliament Funkadelic one. I'm like, Sir Nose just went across the stage 15 times and you never took a shot. Wow. You don't know who he is. It means nothing to you. The same person who directed the Everly Brothers 79 years ago is the same one now trying to tell this story with Parliament.
There it is. Carl, got to get you in here. Why should Black people care about directors, and particularly Black ones?
We bring a certain currency to the table, which is our culture and our spirit and our soul that we can infuse into storytelling. Number one. Number two, the power of media. When we see ourselves, it does something for our self-worth and self-esteem. So telling our stories reminds us of our value. So having African-American directors and directors of color in particular tell our stories, we really invest in the culture and mine the culture. We can pull out jewels and gems that are normally can be overlooked, that we can just kind of expose and bring light to. And then there's a relatability that we have a connection with the audience with.
Yeah, absolutely. Thembi, let's go.
Yeah, well, it's about truth and authenticity. I think there are missed moments and there's nuance and subtlety that goes kind of under the radar or just are not cared about, like what Tony was saying, when you have someone who doesn't truly understand the culture, is of the culture and respects our culture. And so a lot of times what you end up getting is a very superficial, very mainstreamed, whitewashed, kind of like drained story, instead of something that has all sorts of just small details that mean so much to viewers. And then also it's just about changing perspectives, you know, and knowing that Black people are not a monolith, and just knowing that, you know, there's different types of experiences across the board. And to tap into that, you really do have to be of our community, I think.
I love that. It's about changing perspectives. Yes, absolutely. We different. We ain't all the same. Mario, why should Black people care about y'all Black directors? Why?
Let me tell you, history is nothing but a book written by the winner, right? So imagine if, they've got us believing Columbus discovered America, but we know there were Native Americans already here. So if you had a history written from the Native Americans' perspective, it would not show the Native Americans as evil red savages. That's like me putting my flag on your Mercedes, and if you don't get out the car quick enough, I call you an evil red savage. That's what history has done. They framed it that way. If you look at, like they say, news ain't nothing but a snapshot of history. But right now, if you were watching Fox TV, you'd see that the news is they found out that Antifa and Black Lives Matter really were storming the Capitol on June 6th of the false flag operation. Yep. I went on Instagram and said, listen, if that's Black folks, I want whoever did the makeup to come work for me on my next picture. I have never seen it. Let me just tell you, I'll tell you a case in point as to why it matters. After I did New Jack City, you know how it is in Hollywood. And by the way, yesterday was the 30th anniversary of New Jack City.
You beat me to it. I was coming to it.
Maybe, let me tell you.
Come on.
People told me when I did Heartbreak Ridge with Clint, Clint said, Mario, can nobody be flavor of the month for 30 years? But yesterday was the anniversary. After New Jack City, they said, what do you want to do next? They wanted me to make another New Jack. And I said, you know what? Out of the first 44 settlers of Los Angeles, 26 were Black. 26 were African-American. We never see that. The name cowboy, they called us boys. They called the white dudes Rough Riders. Yeah. So they would say, take care of that horse boy, take care of that cowboy. So I know the history. So I said, you know what I want to do? I want to do a Western. Now, and if you look at Westerns, I see this is the Black perspective, because we understand both Americas. We understand this America over here and also their America of the dominant culture. Well, here, go through the Westerns. America made more Westerns than any other genre of movie. Asian man was marginalized. He played Hop Sing, the deferential houseboy. The Latin man was marginalized. He played the Mexican bandit, the oily bandit that didn't need no stinking badges. The Native American, only good Indian, they said, was a dead Indian. And Black folks were scared and shuffling. When I did my Western, I didn't play Native Americans wrong. I brought us all because I wanted to show we didn't have to make get back, get even cinema. We could make better cinema. We didn't have to marginalize anybody to make a hit movie. That perspective, they had all that time to do Westerns and they never had that perspective. because they never had us.
Yeah, they never had us. Listen,
We bring a whole different look to it, and folks got to gangster movies. When you saw New Jack, said, "Oh, that's a little different, got a different vibe because it's us."
Yeah, it's us at the core. So when we come back, I want to tap into your individual projects because, like I said, I'm a fan. Look, Carl, I know about Kareem. I know about 1 Week. Thembi, you and Insecure. Who doesn't watch Insecure?
Every day.
Right, and Tony is not an award show that you don't do. So nobody can ever say that they ain't seen nothing you've done before. And we cannot go without acknowledging 30 years of one of my favorite all-time movies, New Jack City. Come on, is there a line I don't know? I don't think so. We're going to talk about it when we return on the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Welcome back to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul, where tonight we are talking about the plight of the Black directors in Hollywood. Is there a space for Black directors' legacy? Look, let's be honest. Spike Lee just got recognized as a legendary director in Hollywood, if you will, in mainstream Hollywood. Black folk we've been knowing what it is. And so it's interesting. If you want to hear more of this content before I get into it, subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure that you hit the notification bell. That way you can get all the best updates on new videos, live shows, and don't forget to click the thumbs up button and tell us how you're feeling, how you're liking it. We are joined today by director Mario Van Peebles, director Carl Seaton, writer and director Thembi Banks, and director and producer Tony Mccuin. Thank you all for being on the show. Our soulmates are going crazy over here. So let me go grab and see what all these peoples is talking about to y'all. Deborah Will says Tammy is giving us Sade vibes tonight. Okay. Is it a crime?
Yeah, I'm in. I'm in.
Incog says Mario Van Peebles never ages. He is still sexy at 64. I didn't even know you were 64. Telling your age and everything.
We got it off a little bit, I think, but that's a good comment, though. Thank you.
Let's see here. Film Girl Production says this show is absolutely amazing. Can't wait to hear what the panelists have to say. And they've been saying it. They have been saying it. This is so good. We bring that flavor. That's right. Soulmate saying, how many times have we looked on Getty Images and seen Black talent mislabeled? You need a Black person in the room to tell you. They all got a lot to say. And then MVP putting that Columbia econ degree to good use. Who went to Columbia? Mario, MVP putting it to use. MVP.
I like MVP.
MVP.
Wow.
That's it. You gotta keep MVP. You gotta keep
it.
There it is. Oh, there it is. So I want to talk about your individual projects and how it works in terms of you deciding whether you wanted to have the green light from mainstream Hollywood or not. Mario kind of spoke to it a little bit, but Carl, at the time that you did, I want to say 1 week, out of Chicago, it was a independent film.
Very independent.
And at the time you did it in Chicago, most of the films in Chicago were about the killings, were about the thuggery of the city. It was about gangs and crime and that sort of thing. But then you come out with this movie that's a little more about AIDS and a young brother who is trying to figure out all these women that he slept with while he's waiting on his test results to come back. Right. So just like Mario said earlier, Hollywood wanted him to do more New Jack Cities after New Jack City. How do you go against the grain in Chicago when all the movies are these thug films to this film about AIDS?
Well, let me say this. Actually, I was a little ahead of the curve. The thug films you're mentioning, that kind of happened in the 2000s. This was done in the 99, 2000 when I shot 1 week. But I want to address something you mentioned earlier about Spike getting his honors and his legacy being honored. Mm-hmm. I gotta say I'm a direct product of Spike Lee. Coming out of, I saw Do the Right Thing in the theater and came out of it and said I want to be a filmmaker. and he launched a generation of filmmakers. So that's how his legacy is being honored. But to answer your question, you know, when you're a filmmaker and you know you want to separate yourself from a lot of other filmmakers, you have to find a subject matter that is, you know, salacious enough to garner attention and enough and interesting enough it will make somebody say that's a whole different kind of story I would have never suspected or saw coming. So 1 week kind of was birthed from that idea of what a different various what ifs put together. And because HIV was silently decimating our community and it wasn't really being talked about, and I'm talking about the heterosexual African-American community, we looked at that as a great subject matter to explore as a heterosexual young man, you know, coming up and how it can directly affect you. And the story kind of evolved from there. And like I said, it was an ultra low budget movie. We begged, borrowed, and stole. You know, we shot on the south side of Chicago. And when we shot the film, you know, cops didn't really bother us because they weren't really used to seeing black cats shooting films on the south side of Chicago. So they pretty much left us alone to our own devices. You know, even, you know, the gangs were like, y'all making a movie? Like, yeah. And we put them in, like, y'all want to be extras? Just walk by the camera and things like that. So we incorporated the community in the neighborhood into the making of the film. So it was a all hands on deck process.
Thembi, I want to talk about Insecure and how, I mean, how this little bitty project from Issa Rae turned into this massive project. How do you become involved in that?
Well, first, I just want to say, Carl, I actually showed 1 week when I was in college. We had like a weekend where we invited high school kids, all Black high school kids from like Newark, New Jersey, to come spend a weekend at college so they can get that experience. And like, so we had to program it and we had them sit down and watch your film. And we were like, so we were like, you know, I hope you guys like take something away from that, because as you transition and think about college and think about coming here, just also think that this is a part of the experience. Like, it's not just going to class, it's about what you do outside of class. So thank you so much for making that movie. But so I guess like the short part of the story, as far as how I got to be involved with Insecure, I had a writing partner when I first started out, like right out of film school. And my writing partner had a relationship with Issa because she had applied to like one of the competitions that Issa had done. And so someone had come to Issa with an idea about making a film. It was actually Darren Davis. And she was like, okay, well, we got to find some writers for this film. And so she called us and we were like, yeah, we'll pitch a take. And so we ended up taking the film out, pitching it, selling it, and then it fell apart horribly. And I know all my directors know about that experience where, you know, you think you have a film in the bag and then it like the deal does not go through. But we kept in touch with Issa and her team, and I kept in touch with her. And so when I was on my directing journey, I had shadowed on Insecure, because what Insecure does, which is really great, and I think all the HBO shows do this, is they have a very structured shadowing program. And so they make sure that almost every show on HBO invites a person to come and shadow on each episode and give them that experience. And that's a really, really hard to get opportunity and really valuable experience. And so I was able to shadow on the 3rd season of Insecure. And then they asked me, did I want to direct an episode the next season, which was the 4th season. And so that's how I came back, and actually it turned into, you know, the real opportunities, which is what you really want when you shadow. So
yeah, absolutely. So Tony, I want to talk about, you're in a different space in terms of filmmaking, right? You're in this space where it's award shows and Super Bowls and that kind of thing. And we don't really visualize Black folk working behind the camera at the Super Bowl. That's not something that we visualize.
No. It's a weird thing, because I always laugh about the fact that I'm the dude you watch your whole life and didn't know he was Black.
Yeah.
So that's usually my running gag with that whole thing, whether it was Best Damn Sports Show period that I did, or whether it's Game Day Morning, or whether it's UFC on Fox, or whether it was any of these sports things that I did. I mentioned I've done 8 of the last 10 Super Bowls for the NFL Network. And that's a bit of an odd thing for me, because just a quick deal of how the Super Bowl works. it's all over the world. Everybody shows up all over the world for this thing. So the US crew eats in a different tent from the international crew. When it comes to breakfast and all that other stuff, it is just, it always takes me back. I know I seem kind of weird about it now, that brothers come up to me and say, good to see you, my man. I'm so glad you're here.
Well, speaking of brothers though, Tony, I like, how do you work? I'm imagining you being the only Black person.
You are correct.
Oh, okay. So,
you are correct.
So who are these brothers that are coming up saying it's so good to see you, my man?
Because here's the deal. They're all over the world. So somebody may bring a brother from Nashville. Somebody may bring a brother from Texas. You may get a dude from here, a couple of cats from Miami, but it's only a tiny, tiny little bit. And when it first happened, I was touched by it because I was the only director there of color that I know of. It was when the same brothers, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, and you're looking around going, yo, we haven't grown this a little bit.
Wow.
There should be an extra 15 dudes on this right now saying what's up to me. And there isn't. And
are you in charge of hiring those people though?
No. So usually when you do Super Bowls, you get to bring some of your crew from LA, but then you always pull from local. Because if you're talking, 200 dudes,
right?
There's no way. I got to have my steady. I got to have my jib op. I have to have these specialty cam dudes, my handheld, and then the rest, they come from there. So for instance, when I did the Super Bowl in Dallas, that was definitely one of those things where I see this in my head all the time. And I think my engineer got a kick out of it in a good way. He was like, I'm going to have the camera people meet you at the 50-yard line. And, everywhere I go, I'm going to try to be a little on point. I don't want you to wonder if I'm the freaking director. You're going to look at me and know that's the dude right there. So that's important to me. I remember black turtleneck on, long trench coat, talk about posse, Mario. I was ready to go. Shot, walking, 50-yard line, center of the star, met about 15 white crew members, Texas Stadium, all there. Gentlemen, I'd like you to meet Tony Mccuin. He will be your director. And I wish I could have just Carl, a nice slow pan from you of their faces as their mouths just dropped. I just loved it. I breathe it all in. I love it. I'm not being seditious about it or mean about it. It is just that I look forward to saying, you've never seen nothing like me before. I like that thought of having to go.
And to that,
it's a true story.
My dad,
a dude at the tennis. I cut a show, Thursday night football, first ever to do it, and that crew went and did the U.S. Open. And my boy who worked on the U.S. Open said, "Yo," they're like, "Who the hell is this black director? This dude just came in and set the NFL on fire." So that's what I want. I want you to go, "Oh, okay."
Go ahead, Mario.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that is dope, and it's dope that your work speaks for you as well. So it's not just your brother of color, because sometimes skin folk ain't always our kinfolk.
Sometimes I say the man ain't always white.
My dad said there's 4 phases in your life if you're lucky, son. There'll be Mario who. Get me Mario. Get me a young Mario, and Mario who. So what I make sure is while I have to get me Mario, I get other brothers and sisters in. So what's dope is if you say, because every time we teach someone something, we take another step towards immortality. So teach them something good. And my hope is that you say, by the time I leave this game, I've got 3 sisters, 4 brothers, a couple Native American brothers and sisters that all know what I taught them, and they follow your legacy. That's the shit. You know what I mean?
To piggyback that.
We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Okay, I'm going to touch back on that.
And okay, we'll be right back. You know about these breaks, Tony. I got to go. We'll be right back on the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Welcome back to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Tonight we talk about Black directors in Hollywood, and boy, do I have some with me. Tony Mccuin is here, Carl Seaton, Thembi Banks, and Mario Van Peebles, the MVP. I'm going to the soulmates real quick. They want me to chime in, so let's go to Ursula O. Robinson. And I just lost it, but let's get it again. Okay. As an actress and writer, tonight is a feast. Thank you, Tammi and Fox. Family gonna eat tonight. Eat this wisdom. Sean Cabrera says, don't forget, Tony also did Big Brother last season. And then Heidi Fly Uchi reality show says, Mr. Peebles is so fine. And I said it like she wrote it, Mario. And Deborah Will says, wow, there's a lot of Black talent and they don't want to hire us, so we must create our own lane. Mario, before we left, you wanted to mention something before I get to the next question here.
About getting recognition, and I think it's, you know, when I got the opportunity to play Malcolm in the movie Ali with Will Smith, and Muhammad Ali would come down the set and he would clown me and he'd go, Van Peebles, if you were any smarter, I'd enjoy your company, boy. But one of the things we started talking about was a Malcolm X speech where Dr. King was going to get the Nobel Peace Prize. And so the press was coming to Malcolm and saying, what do you think about it? And Malcolm said, look, I have a lot of respect for Brother King. I don't always understand him because I think he's speaking nonviolence to an enemy that doesn't understand nonviolence. But be that as it may, I want to also say this, and it's interesting because Tony covers football. Imagine we were playing football and our team is playing against the dominant culture. If we're waiting for the dominant culture to give our quarterback an MVP award, we're in the wrong lane. And if the dominant culture does give us an MVP award, we got to stop and say, wait a minute, what are we doing wrong? So I think it's very important that we do exactly what you're doing tonight, Tammi. You're honoring us. You're giving us voice. You're saying, hey, these are the griots. These are the folks charged with telling our stories around the campfire and passing that oral tradition on. You're giving us a voice. So we're not waiting for somebody else to tell us that we're important. And we're not waiting for the dominant culture to give us an award. We recognize Brother Spike way back. We recognize Brother Singleton way back. If they give us an award, that's cool. But if they don't, they're at home with us. And that's very important, that we're not looking to outsource our sense of who we are as a people to the dominant culture that would buy and sell us as a people.
Well, I wish Black people thought like that, though, Mario. Is that a realistic thought process? Because every Black actress I know wants an Oscar. Every Black director I know wants an Oscar. Like, is that a reality thought process for us? And if not, how do we get there?
I can't speak for everyone. Here's my award. I was walking down the street with my father in 57th Street. And this brother with silver dreads and his family came up to us and he said, Van Peebles, I got to stop you. So we both turned around. I didn't know if he was talking to me or my dad. He said, I'm talking to both of y'all. He said, sometimes I go to a Van Peebles movie and I learn something. Sometimes I go to a Van Peebles movie and I'm entertained. And sometimes I go to a Van Peebles movie and I come out proud to be a Black man. When you guys do a movie, I get all three all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, Tammi, you know, I want to hop in real quick and just say, you know, it's always great to aspire for these acknowledgments in that regard. But like, I just got an award tonight when Thembi told me she showed my film to some high school students.
Sure.
Like, that means the world. That means the effort and the work and the grind and the struggle we put into it has paid off because, you know, some other people were affected enough by it to show it to some other folks. So you learn to get value in different places as opposed to the normal spots because, you know, an Oscar is great and everybody would love to be nominated or acknowledged in that regard. But, you know, as it pertains to our audience and our culture, you get different acknowledgement from different ways. You learn the code from that.
Right.
Go ahead.
I agree. And I was just going to say, I think that thinking is changing. Like what you were saying, Tammi, about like everybody wants an Oscar. Yes, it's great. It's nice. Like, you know, we wouldn't turn it down or give it back. But I do think that there is a shift because after so many years, you know, we just went through it with the Golden Globes and I was just like so unaffected. I was like, okay. And, you know, like, why are we up in arms about it? I made a short and to my surprise, it got nominated for an NAACP award this year. And to me, that's like the greatest acknowledgement because it's for us, by us, you know? And I think if we start to put stock into the people that see us and that we are actually, you know, images of acknowledging and honoring us, then that's a recognition, and I think that should be worth gold. And then I also think that, like, as directors, as creatives, as artists, we have to reimagine what the benchmark of success is for us.
Oh, that's good, Thembi. That's good.
It shouldn't be an award. It should be, did someone stop me on the street, like Carl and Mario just said, and say, your film means something to me? Is it, you know, knowing that someone just got into film school like Carl did because they saw a film by a Black filmmaker and said, I'm going to film school now? Like, that's how you, I think, should measure your success, not if a white person gives you a gold statue.
Okay, now a white person gives you a gold statue. Speaking of white persons, let's talk about the Golden Globes. Let's talk about the Hollywood Foreign Press Association.
Go
ahead, Mario.
I was just going to get to that. So we're waiting for a jury not of our peers to recognize who we are. And we know they have a tendency to recognize Black trauma. They'll tune into Black trauma, but they don't always tune into Black joy. They don't tune into the 360 of who we are as a people. So, you know, you have to keep that in mind. I think Paul Robeson asked the question. He said, when you buy into the values, the perspective, the zeitgeist of a people who would buy and sell you as a people, what have you ultimately become?
Jules, just drop them all over the place, all over the place. Tony, how do you feel about the Golden Globes and these awards? I mean, the fact that there are 87, here was my thought about it when I think it was Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler got up during their opening monologue and continued to talk about how there were only 87 members of the Hollywood Foreign Press, and they were all white. And my first thought was like, it's 2020. They've been all white since the Hollywood Foreign Press has been in existence. Right. Why is it a big deal today? I mean, it's 2021. So I'm just like, okay, so white people are trying to be our allies now. And this is a part of that allyship that they're trying to garner from us, because hell, y'all been white since white been white.
Right.
I didn't understand the magnitude of 2021, Tony.
You know, it's an interesting one. And I think it has a lot to do with, obviously, the civil unrest, the injustices. There's been injustices all day, every day for 1,000 years. So why now? So there is a big question in regards to why now? Why all of a sudden? And I think there's a situation where we're trying to purge ourselves or cleanse ourselves of what we know has been pretty wrong for a long time. And look, with that being said, I'm going to piggyback what Thembi said in regards to, that's why I love doing the Directing the Image Awards so much. The Image Awards to me, and I always out the corner of my eye, I'm thinking, it's the Get Right show. It is the Get Right award show.
Yeah.
The stuff you all got wrong, we're about to get right. And when you combine that with producers, like you want to talk about a killer director, Reginald Hudlin, he's DP. Got my man Byron Phillips and Phil Gurin. So we're talking about a situation where it's a unique award show in the sense of it legitimately celebrates Black excellence. There is none of that okie doke going on where stuff is all over the top and there's a whole bunch of this, that, and the other thing. It is about the excellence of Black people, period. Young, old, whatever. It is just, it is something that, it is one of the few shows that I do that when I leave, I go, okay, Mario, you talked about making your mark. Holy cow. When I did that 50th, and there's Louis Gossett, and there's Denzel Washington, there's this, there's that, and they're sitting up here talking about, they're basically doing Tammi Mac show live at the altar. They're basically going, we've got to stick together. We've got to do this. And you cut to that shot of Regina King.
Yeah.
You cut to that shot, of Andra Day. You cut to that shot and they're just Jamie Foxx just taking it in. And you know that you are doing something different. It is the most unique thing. It is the weirdest thing. It's only happened to me a few times where you are directing and like a film, only you're cutting a film live. You take a shot and you're just enamored. You almost can't cut away.
I almost can't cut away, but I have to, Tony.
Oh.
So we're going to take a quick break and come right back on the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Yeah, it was hard to cut away from that. Welcome back to the Tammi Mac Show on Fox Soul. Carl, look, I just want to say, go, Carl, go, just go.
No, we were commenting about, this mentioning the civil unrest and how number one, it's undeniable. And it forced white people to acknowledge some systemic injustices inflicted upon us. Also, it made us galvanize ourselves and collectively move in a different direction in terms of our self-worth and justifications. And also it made us more methodical. It made us more strategic, where we started to plot, plan, and move in a whole different direction because we value ourselves in a different way. And we realize that our value isn't predicated upon anybody else. We realize, you know what? They're not going to give us what we need. We're going to get it ourselves, which is why Atlanta turned blue and, the voter registration thing, went a whole different way. And the South is starting to shift. And now these voter registration rights are starting to, they're trying to, do the politician type of thing right now.
Yeah, so they're trying to suppress our votes. They're like, oh my goodness, these Black people have woken up. They're realizing their worth. Oh, it's almost like a battered wife when she decides that she no longer wants to be in the relationship anymore. And then the man is like, oh my God, who got into her head? What is she doing now? Oh Lord Jesus. I want to talk, I cannot do a show about directors and Black directors, Mario, without talking about your father, who is a legend, a legacy. I don't even know what it means to come from that fruit.
Yeah. Well, my dad we have 3 languages. One, we have a father-son language. We have a homie language where we clown and chase women the same age. I mean, my dad is a trip. And the other language we have is as filmmakers, And so when we're on the set, he's the director, I'm the director, and we've collaborated on the Panther movie. He produced it, and he wrote and produced it, and I directed and produced it. And we make an agreement. We have a pact going in because we know Hollywood's going to come after us because they see a father and son, a Black father and son working together with all that love. So we know Hollywood's going to be like a bulldog, and if you don't give a bulldog a chew toy, it's going to come after your leg. So we sat down before we did Panther, and we said, okay, I'm gonna clown, he's gonna clown me and call me the wannabe that never will. And I'm gonna call him the has-been that never was. And if people like the movie, I'll credit my directing. And if they like the movie with him, he'll credit his writing. And we clown, we play the dozens, we have mad fun together. But he told me early on, he said, son, a lot of Black fathers can teach you to play ball. I don't play ball well, but I'm gonna teach you how to own the team. And that's why I'm doing that. There you go. So we as a people have to remember playing ball is good. Get your Magic Johnson on, but afterwards, own your Starbucks, own your movie theaters, get your business game on. Pretty is temporary. People say you're good looking. That's all. Pretty is temporary. Dumb is forever. You know what I mean? So get your business stuff on. Figure out how you can monetize what you love. Take that, know everything about it, and in some way figure out how to end up being the boss. And that's so important for us because then you can affect content. Yeah. So when I started acting, I said, Dad, I'm not seeing the right roles for us. He said, that's why I made my thing. So I started directing. Then I started directing. I said, I'm not seeing the right scripts. So I started writing. Then I didn't see the funding. And then I used my economics degree. Yes, that's when I said, oh, I can speak finance. I can make money. If they can make money from us, we can make money from us. So I was groomed well to get to do what I do and have longevity in the business because we know how to make it happen. We know how to make money from us.
Yeah, yeah.
Carl, and I'm gonna call up Tony, and I'm gonna call up Timmy, and I'm gonna call up you, and we're gonna put our money together, and maybe she'll direct it, and I got
a little change.
That's how we do it. We figure it out, and right. We have an audience. We know who to go to. That's what you do.
So I want to, speaking of money, putting money together, white directors, when a white director's movie bombs at the box office, they're oftentimes given another chance. Thembi, you want to speak on this, how white directors are given another chance over and over again, whether their films make it, whether their television shows make it or not, they get the benefit of the doubt that the next one we'll get the next one, Jimmy.
Yeah. I mean, I think I see it even more so when I talk to like my Black peers and colleagues in TV, especially, with Who Gets a Show, because sometimes you'll see a person and they have like the most like ridiculous idea that you've seen before, like 4 college roommates are broke in the city, right? And they go in and they pitch this show and like they're 22 and they're like, yes, like green light, you get like 22 episodes and a great budget and you have a show on the air. And then, someone like Issa comes along or whomever, like, Donald Glover, and they're like, I want to tell like a really interesting nuanced show about like a Black nerd, or I want to tell a really interesting show about, a Black couple who's like, divorced but still living together, or whatever the idea is. And they're like, oh, I don't really know. Like, it's, it's like so specific and maybe there's not an audience. And so you experience that. And then, yeah, you definitely experience it like with films when you see someone who made a film that was just like artistically just like inept and didn't, have anything to say. And that person continues to get not only another film, but like a bigger budgeted film. And you're just like, well, why am I still here begging for like $1.5 million to make something that's like really special and unique? And it is frustrating. And I really do think that they put every excuse up, Oh, we don't know if you can handle it. Oh, we don't know if you have the experience. Mm-hmm. We don't know if there's an audience for it. And so that's why I think it's really important to find people and places. And I think that we are gearing up towards having, that foundation where people will give you money and believe in you, and have their own production companies and kind of going to people that really truly get what you're trying to say. And there's not a lot of them on the other side. So it's just really all about making sure that we empower the people who have the funds and the resources to give money to people. And we have to do it our own way. We have to stop going to, the big studios or the typical people.
Tammi, can I say this really quickly? It's just to add on to what Timmy's saying. It's about access and opportunity. And, 20 years ago, the gatekeeping walls were very high and all roads led to LA to really get any type of career going. But the internet, social media, things of that nature have allowed people, YouTube has allowed people to cultivate their own content, their own audience, their own revenue. So in doing that, you've basically created splintered distribution outlets, which has caused the gatekeepers' walls to get lower and lower and lower. And that has given more people more opportunities to tell their stories, hone their craft, generate revenue and so forth. And in doing that, you're not as dependent on, back in the day, you had 7 studios and each one was doing maybe 1-2 Black film a year, if that. And now that has been kind of nullified because you now have Amazon, you have Netflix and so forth. So there are more opportunities and there's more access to, get your work out there and to generate more content.
Absolutely. Tony, you want to talk about the disparity between the green lights for white projects versus Black projects?
Yeah, for me, being a multi-camera director, that money has already been decided. So if NBC decides they want to do this, or ABC decides they want to do that, whether it's the weakest link or this, that, or the other thing for game shows or whatever it is, that money's been allocated. So now that producer, who is the production company that's running, is going, well, we need a director. And usually they go between their same 5 cats. So our pool never really gets any bigger. And then every now and then you have that, like for me, when you do I've directed 8 billion comic views, all the way up to Kevin Hart. So last 10 years before they took it off there. Exact same thing with Dr. Bobby Jones' Gospel. 1,000 years, Celebration of Gospel, 1,000 years, every single one for 40 years. There is something about the Black crew that is family. They could almost not pay you because you just enjoy tripping on headsets and having a great time. So, and I say that to say this. This year, I went to work on Big Brother. And I will say this, that we've talked about, where you got to fight for your own, you got to do your own and all this other stuff. There are not a lot of Black people on staff at Big Brother. But I will say this. I've never had a group of, quote, non-Black people rally around me and want my success as more as them.
Oh, that's a good thing.
I have to be 100 about it.
That's good.
And I don't mean oh my gosh, we hope the black guy does really well. This was from the heart. They actually cared about me, from my AD to my producer, to my script supervisor, to the executive producers, to the network itself. The network head, we got you, my man. And not kidding, because to your point, we have to be twice as good. You hear that all the time. I don't mind being twice as good. Why would I not want to be twice as good?
Well, you know, so, the policies that are created and the positions that we're oftentimes put in, it kind of forces us.
Oh, you're scared to death because you know.
To be better.
Because you know one wrong shot.
Better, yeah. I mean, I say it all the time. If you're playing Venus Williams in a practice game, you're gonna eventually be better than Venus Williams.
That is correct.
You know, I mean, it's I want to go to our soulmates real quick. Jen W says, "Hey, Miss Thembi, we miss you in the St. Louis. Is that it? Is that St. Louis?
I think so. Yeah, that's my dad's name.
Yeah." And let's see, Incog says, "Shoot, Adam Sandler had a string of bombs and still kept getting greenlit by Sony Columbia, but he has a complexion for the protection." Well, okay, we're going to take a break on that and come right back to wrap this show up and find out what all of these directors are doing right now. Projects that we definitely want to watch. I can promise you that. We're coming right back on the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Welcome back to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Tony, I'm coming to you first. What do you got cooking up for us that we can watch probably Saturday, huh?
No, probably almost Saturday. We've got the 52nd NAACP Image Awards, which is going to be hot with some banging performances, as well as, like I've been shooting the presenters in various locations around the country. So unlike somebody
Samuel L. Jackson hosting that?
I'm not allowed to say right now.
Oh, okay. A little birdie talk to me.
But I will say that this is going to be
fantastic.
For a COVID show, holy moly. this, if I can say something and date myself like that, it is going to be a hot and, of course, live show and on CBS. This is a network award show.
Wait, this is the first time that's happened?
No, but last year it was on all Viacom platforms.
Yes, it
was.
So
I was on CMT, VH1, everything. And I'm going to touch on that real quick. Man, there was just this thing when I knew I was on CMT, I was like, oh no, you're getting it. Because I have this thing that I'm just like, good TV is colorblind.
Yeah. Well, I'm
gonna like this asset so much that you are gonna say, holy cow, I had no idea who Jill Scott was, but I know who she is now.
I know who she is now. Thembi.
I'm directing some episodes of TV, so look out for that. I'm actually headed to Chicago to do a Showtime show, a couple episodes of a Showtime show next week. And then my movie, when everything shut down, which was like this week, last year, I was on my second day of directing my very first feature film. So of course, like my heart broke. I thought I was gonna die. Like I literally thought my heart was gonna stop beating because it takes so long to get a movie up, and then we're on our second day to shut down. So we're going to finish that in May, and
let's not forget you're nominated.
Yes, for an NAACP Image Award.
Get that trophy, girl.
Let's see if we can get Tony to tell you if you won or not. Well, let's get an exclusive on that. Carl, what are we looking at for you?
I'm currently working on Godfather of Harlem, but I got 2 episodes of Snowfall coming in April. Last 2 episodes.
My man.
That's my show too, Snowfall. Come on, Snowfall, bring it. And Mario, Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang. Yeah, so I'm doing Wu-Tang Clan in the first episode of the second season. My son, Mandela Van Peebles, got the role as the villain. So you're going to see the first episode, and Mandela's in there, he's doing his thing. And let's see, then I'm going to do a show about one of the early civil rights actors. I'm just going to act in that. And then that's in Florida. And then I think I'm going to do another Western. I'm going to do another posse and put some women in the saddle this time.
Will come, yes.
So I'm going to do another Western.
Thank you. I wanted to ask about New Jack City, but they're telling me I'm out of time. But real quickly, I want to sneak it in. We just saw Coming to America 2. Are we going to see a new New Jack City? New.
I don't have any idea on that. It's hard to say.
Okay. I couldn't get an exclusive, y'all. Sorry. He said, hey, I don't know. He said he don't know. Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you, Mario, Carl, and Thembi. That is the Tammi Mac Late Show for tonight. And until tomorrow, everybody, it's a blessing to be in your box on Fox Soul.
All right. Thank you for having us on.